It is time, just like Mariah Carey says every Christmas, for the frost covers. I noticed this morning that a lot of my tomato plants actually had blackened tips on them, so we must have gotten a little bit of a late frost last night. This is the second one, I think, so far this season. I had shared on a previous video that I came out and I'd left my knee pad and my gardening gloves out here, and they were nice and frosty and crystally. So I think I'm gonna have to go cover up some of my precious tomatoes, and I wanna show you those because I have a few that are like my prized tomatoes and I do not wanna risk losing them. This poor little plant, it's starting to die back, but I don't know if you can tell. I don't know if it justifies it on the camera, but this thing is about the size of a grapefruit, and I have been watching it over the last few weeks and it just keeps getting bigger, and it's so exciting because I cannot wait to try to eat that. So I'm hoping that it will beat the frost and that I can keep it protected enough until it ripens up. And this is a Cherokee purple, but it's really, really exciting. So these are the tomatoes that I was talking about. These have definitely been singed. They were looking black this morning. They've since perked up just a bit, but really they are pretty much very unhappy with the frost that we got last night. But I'm hoping that I can get these ripened. Let's go over here. So look at all of these plants. Just look at all of those. They are just all over them. And I would tell you what variety this is, but I don't think my little tag. Oh, it's the Afghan yellow, or Afghan orange, sorry. So this one is doing really well through the fall, but it did not really like the summertime temperatures. So this one is definitely a second go around tomato that I could plant in June and then put out in the garden in July, because it just did not do well in the heat. So I'm going to be throwing some covers on a few of my choice select tomatoes just to keep them safe for just another week or two longer. I think that I can wrap them up really well so that they stay nice and cuddly warm, and hopefully I can harvest those tomatoes. But I want to show you another very exciting development, and that is my calendula, and I'm going to take you over there right now. So in my garlic bed, you all may remember from last year, I had planted calendula all around this border on this side, and then on that side I had orlea, and those were really pretty too. But I am so excited about this calendula. I noticed this earlier this week, that we were getting some little flower buds on them, but these were actually open. I missed it this morning. I should have come and done the video this morning, but I have a few little blooms on them. Here's another one right here. So I think they're really going to start popping in the next week or so, and that's just really exciting. It just makes it look so lovely with the orange border around the garlic. I really, really like it. So the reason why I am so over the moon about this calendula is because I am on my very last jar of dried calendula blooms in the house. So throughout the late winter and early spring, I will harvest this like crazy, like a little squirrel gathering walnuts for the winter. And I take it inside and I put it in my dehydrator and I dry all of those blooms, and then I'll put them in mason jars. And I do that because calendula is really, really good for your skin. And if you look at some of the more natural beauty products and skincare products, you will see calendula on that ingredient list. It's just really good for your skin. I like to infuse oil on my windowsill. It couldn't be easier. All you do is put the dried blooms into a mason jar, fill the mason jar up with whatever carrier oil you want to use. I like jojoba is really good. Sweet almond oil is really good. Those don't clog your pores like some of the other heavier oils do. And then you can use that oil after it sits on your windowsill for like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. You can use that in soaps and lotions and balms and all kinds of other great things for your skin. And I love doing that. So anyway, I was almost out and I was really holding off on making the last batch with the last flowers I had in the house. But now that I see all of these flowers, I am definitely going to be making that this weekend. Oh, by the way, do you see the trees back here? My little pomegranate trees are starting to look very fall-like. They are just beautiful. And this morning, they were so pretty up against the blue sky. And so I've got a whole row of these. This is the myrtle bush that keeps coming back. I think I've made my peace with it. I think I'm gonna just let it stay because it keeps coming back anyway. Oh, look what I see. This is a little pipe vine. Looks like a little pitcher plant here. If you see one of these, let it be, because the swallowtail butterflies love to lay their eggs on there and the caterpillars will eat those. So it's really good. I don't really know why the pomegranates on this end of the yard are turning, but then this one is not turning. It's a big mystery. Let me show you. So you can see the yellow ones here, and then this one is completely green. So it's really weird. At first I thought maybe it was this side of the yard. Maybe there was like some kind of a microclimate or something like that over here, because this little one that's right next to it was also green for a long time, but it's actually starting to turn yellow now. So maybe it's just that that one is a lot more established, a lot bigger, and maybe it's less sensitive to the cold. I'm just not really sure. So if any of you have any theories, you can let me know about that. I want to show you my peach tree too. It's looking really pretty. So in this little corner right here is the peach tree, and it's looking really lovely and yellow. I was also out admiring it today against the blue sky. It's so pretty. I can't believe how thick the trunk on this has gotten since we planted it. When we planted it, it was maybe the width of like 2 pencils, but now you can see it's probably maybe 4 or 5 inches. I would say maybe like 4. So it's definitely like tripled in size, I think. Really, really pretty. My apple trees are still going for it. They're looking pretty good. They haven't even started changing color yet, but apples are pretty cold hardy, so I'm not surprised about that. I want to show you a couple other things real quick. I've still got quite a few pomegranates that I need to harvest on here, especially in light of the fact that I still have a lot of leaf-footed bugs prowling about, and I noticed some of them are starting to split. We got a good rain night before last, and so I think that extra water just caused them to split because they're already ripe and there's no more room inside that shell for them. So I also noticed that my pomegranate seems to be a little confused here because I'm getting some blooms and some flower buds, and so it's trying again, which is so funny. I think that it's going to get shut down here pretty quickly though, and I love how the tips look this time of the year because they seem to really put on a lot of growth in the cool weather. This is a little bit of a random video for me, but I was out in the yard and I was just getting myself all excited about the weekend and all of the things that I'm going to be doing, which I want to share with you too. And I just thought that I would pop on here and just give a little update and let you know about the things that I'm doing out in the garden this weekend. I've got some potatoes that I'm going to be planting. I've got 2 really snarly beds that I have to dig the Bermuda grass out of, so I'll show you those too. And then I've got a couple of stock tanks. One is already cleared out and ready to go, and the other one has those tomatillos and some more dreaded Bermuda grass in it. So I am going to be tackling that this weekend too and planting so many more things, and I'm really excited about it. Those were the Juliet tomatoes, and that is where they came from. I was going to pull this basil out the other night. I was making Italian food, so I spared it so I could harvest a little bit more, but it's not really tasting very good because it bloomed, and that changes the flavor a bit, and it's also fairly unhappy because of the cold temperatures. So I am going to be getting rid of that. I'm just going to make this a salad garden, some mixed lettuces, and then do you all see all of this grass in here? Oh my goodness, I do not know what I did in my past life to deserve this, but I am paying for something for sure. But the tomatillos, I'm going to be harvesting the rest of those, and then they'll be done. You can see on these Lozano tomatoes just how unhappy they are about the cold that we got. I was out here earlier today at lunchtime just stuffing my face with them, just thinking, oh my gosh, there's not going to be any more tomatoes for months. I gotta get my share. And so I ate so many tomatoes that I kind of have a bit of a bellyache right now, but that's all right. It is totally worth it. Do any of you get a little bit sentimental at the end of a season when you know the frost is coming? And even though I have been complaining about Bermuda grass and the heat and you know, kind of ready for a change of the kinds of crops that I'm growing out here. I'm ready for lettuce and all of the cool season things. But when it comes down to it, then I know there's a frost coming, and then I start feeling a little bit sad about having to let go of my tomatoes and my jalapenos and all of those yummy warm season things. But I think, as they say, variety is the spice of life, and I think it really makes you appreciate things more when you know you only have them for a short time. So I am going to continue with giving myself a stomach ache and eat some more of these tomatoes, because you never know, they may be cooked tomorrow morning. So let me show you the rest of this. Oh, look at that sunset right there. Isn't that a beauty? So pretty. Yeah. Arizona sure knows how to do a sunset for sure. I just spotted the first nasturtium blooms of the season, so I'm going to show you those too. They're beautiful. Just look at those. There were none on here like 2 days ago, and now look at all of those blooms. I noticed that there were a lot of flower buds on them. Let me look over here. This mustard, I have to say, I'm not a fan of the flavor, but it is lovely. And all of these nasturtiums are just popping up like crazy. These are mostly just volunteers, because I had a big, beautiful bed of them here last year, and they must have reseeded themselves, which I appreciate. The kale is doing so good. Look at that. I love being able to have a mix of kale. Just makes such a pretty bouquet, I think. And let me look over here too. Looks like I've got a lot of arugula. This stuff, I planted it a few weeks ago, but it was still a little hot, and this stuff is spicy, so I'm going to try to maybe cut it back. Look at all of these jalapenos I still need to harvest. I better do that tonight. I planted that arugula like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, because I thought, you know, that it would be a good time to do it. It was starting to get a little cooler, but I think it was still a little bit too hot, because it is really, really spicy. So I'm going to try to trim all of the leaves off, the big leaves anyway, and just leave the really small ones and the new growth, and hopefully that will be enough to reset it. So we'll see. I am not sure. I'm about 50% optimistic about that plan, so we'll see. These little herb and flower beds are doing better. I still have to put this irrigation line in there properly, but I thought that the salvia that I relocated from another part of the garden was gonna die because it looked really bad. You can see these leaves, but now I see in the middle that it's coming out with some new growth, so that I think is going to make it. And it looks like the yarrow that I moved also has new growth on it, and the calendula is doing okay. So I think all in all, shopping for flowers in my yard was just fine. I think it was a success. So I'll just put this back on here. I just wanted it to get some water on that poor plant right there, but I have to get some more of those landscaping pins and put that in properly. But these other ones are doing great too. The signs of fall. You've got the desert willow leaves in there. But I've been harvesting herbs off of this already. I've dried a few, and they are so delicious. And look, oh, another little calendula bloom. All right, so really quickly, because I am losing daylight fast, and this was kind of a random video, not planned, but hopefully you all don't mind the visit. I just get so excited about things in the garden, and I just want to tell somebody. So I still have got the last half of the garlic bed that I need to finish weeding out. Those are actually volunteer flowers, mostly Orlea from last year, so I'm going to try to relocate a few, but I don't think I can find enough places for thousands of Orlea. So I have this side all finished, but I just have to do this side now. And I was peeking underneath one of these row covers because I had set out some cabbage seedlings, and I wanted to make sure that they didn't get burned by the sun. And when I peeked under the row cover the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, they were so big and they look so healthy and beautiful. So I'm going to show you those right now. I just weigh them down with rocks, and that is really all there is to it. But I don't know, can you see that? It's really hard to get this under here, but that in the middle is one of the Savoy cabbages, I think, and it's always one of the first to really start forming heads. We've got some others too, but those are not nearly as vigorous as that. That is a beautiful cabbage. I was just noticing a couple days ago that the ants are eating my beet seedlings and my Swiss chard, which is so rude. So I got some diatomaceous earth and sprinkled it on there, and it seems like it slowed them down a little bit, but I think I'm gonna have to replant a few of them because I've got some gaps in the little rows that I was doing underneath this other shade cloth. So that's okay though. We all have to coexist, I guess. So my jobs for the weekend are to clear out 2 more of these little 4x4 beds, and I'm going to be planting potatoes, some more strawberries. I know I'm late on those. I actually forgot about them. They were in my seed starting racks inside, and I was like, what is in this box? I was going through some stuff, and yeah, that was my strawberries that I got a couple weeks ago that I put to the side and forgot about. So I'm gonna be planting those. They still look like they're alive, so I've got high hopes for them. I'm just going to plant them, and then I'm gonna cover them with a frost cloth and hope for the best. So I think they'll be okay though. They look like they'll be okay. I'm going to be starting some things in the house so that I have seedlings ready for succession sowing. I'm going to be planting out some salad greens out here, as well as some carrots and a few other little things. And so I think that is about it. I will try to pop on here so that I can share some of what I'm doing then. I hope you all don't mind this informal video. Sometimes it's just really nice to talk to plant people and share my excitement. Poor TJ, I think sometimes he gets tired of hearing me talk about plants 24/7 because it pretty much is that much. So I thought that I would get on here and I would tell you. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight in the garden, and I will see you this weekend. Good night, little babies. I hope you stay warm.